Hello, FibreTownies. Welcome to a very special episode. I'm not sure which one this is, 160 something. But hi, I have the very first FibreTown on the road to show you guys. So I am here in all my glory, my iron burn. Doesn't that look horrible? Crafting is dangerous, okay? Anyway, wanted to give you an introduction to our very first FibreTown on the road, as I said, and it is from Amanda, who is one of the proprietors of Prado de Lana. So she will tell you all about Prado de Lana, so I won't say much more about it other than I found the place she shows is very inspiring. So she starts us off in her craft room and she talks about where she lives, her business, her sheep, her crafting story, a little bit of yarn stash and projects, and then at the very end she gives us an up close and personal with her flock and her pastures. So I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. And let me know what you think. I will be back in a few days, possibly next week, with a regular episode. And I will have another FibreTown on the road either that time or the time after that. So yes, I think I have hit on everything that I need to tell you, so enjoy.
Hi, Emily and everybody watching the FibreTown on the Road podcast. I am Amanda from Prado de Lana Sheep Farm here in Chester County, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia. I guess I'll just start from the beginning. First off, though, I do want to say thank you to Emily for including us in this project. I think it's just a really great idea and such an awesome opportunity for us to be able to kind of share our story in our business and what we do, and personal things going on here at home, and can't wait to see who else you have on. So thank you again, Emily. So I'll just start from the beginning. We moved here from Kansas City about 6 years ago, and with our son Sammy, who was at the time about 1.5. And so we moved here and have loved living here, and about 2 years ago we really just wanted to start our own business. And living on the property that we live on just has really great pasture space, and Alberto and I both have an agricultural background, and having this space so readily available to us, we knew that we wanted to do something with our business that could incorporate that. And so we really researched some things, and we decided that we really wanted to get sheep. And so we started researching the breed and trying to figure out which one was best for our family and what we were wanting to do. And so I really had my heart set on the Romney, and from there we started looking for Romney sheep farms and for shepherds that were willing to sell us their sheep. And luckily we found that farm in Vermont, Grandview Farm, and thankfully Kim Goodling was willing to sell us 3 of her best Romney ewes, and Hazel, Holly, and Thea came home with us, and they are the original members of our flock. And we just love them. If you have ever seen any of our posts on Instagram or Facebook or even on our website, they make frequent appearances. So yeah, we just really love them. So from there, we started adding some Lincolns into the mix, and then added some more Romneys, and then this summer we've added 3 CVMs as well. So our business has just started growing, and our flock has definitely grown, and we've lambed for the past 2 seasons, which has just been a real treat and something exciting to see, and having some of these lambs in our flock has just been really fun. And having this experience for our kids, I have to say, has just been almost just unbelievable to see the things that they're learning, the life lessons that they're getting, the characteristics and the qualities that they'll be building as individuals, it's just priceless. So, and probably something that they wouldn't have normally had without having this type of experience. So we're truly thankful to be able to do this. And so from there, we had to think of a farm name, and so Prado de Lana came about mostly because my husband is originally from Mexico, and we thought having a Spanish name would just be something really cool and kind of honor that heritage. And so Prado de Lana in English means wool meadow, and it just really fits our farm and kind of the area that we're in. And I can't tell you how hard it was to think of a name. So when we finally found it, it was, hooray, we can move on from that kind of hiccup in the road. But so from there, we have, been raising our flock for wool, and last year was our first harvesting of wool, and to see them being sheared and see the fleece off the animal is just really awesome. If you have not ever been to a sheep shearing, I think it's something that you should definitely try or go see, because you kind of are always a little bit surprised with what comes off the animal. The fleece does not necessarily always look like what it is. So, and just the shearers in general, their skill is just amazing. And so to be able to be part of that and see that has just been kind of a cool experience. So shearing last year for the first time was just great. And then to be able to send our wool to the mill to be turned into an actual somewhat finished product was just even better. And I know that, it's so easy to just go to a yarn store and pick out a skein of yarn, or, even go to a fiber festival and, find that great yarn. But for the person who is making the yarn, especially if it comes from their own farm, that 6-month to 12-month period of, maintaining an animal and then shearing it and then sending it off to mill and then waiting for it to come back is just, it can be agonizing. Especially the wait time from when it comes, when it's sent off to the mill to coming back. I mean, we sent about 30 plus bags of wool to the mill this past spring, in early June, and I'm hoping that we have it back sometime in September, maybe October, hopefully in September more. But you spend all this time caring for the animal, and then having to wait is just, I'm getting ants in my pants. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at as far as our business. We sell most of our wool products off of our website, pradodelana.com. You can contact me through our website if you want to send me an email or just send a message to the website. If you ever have any questions or just want to connect, I would love to meet more people. You can also find us on Instagram and Ravelry too, at Prado de Lana, and can kind of follow us on a daily basis as far as pictures of our sheep. We have 2 guard dogs, Meadow and Willow, who are Great Pyrenees, and then we just recently got 4 French Angora rabbits. So we're busy, and we have lots to show, and I just think our sheep are beautiful. So if you can get a chance to hop on there, if you're not already, we would love for you to see our sheep. From there, once we got our yarn back last year, that's when everything kind of really started taking off. We've done a couple of fiber shows. Our biggest show that we've done so far was Vogue Knitting in New York, and that was an experience. Unloading all of your stuff in the middle of Times Square is a little intense. and you know, kind of not really knowing what you're getting into and what to expect, you know, has its level of anxiety as well. So we will be doing Vogue knitting again in January in New York City. So I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully we're going to be able to do some other fiber shows around the Northeast as well. I just really want to get our stuff out there so that people can see it and squeeze it and feel it and, you know, smell it, because there's nothing better than wool straight from the sheep. I'll show you some of the products that we have right now. Right now we don't have a whole lot of yarn. What we have is from last year or last season, and so we have a little bit left for me to be able to show you. That's why I'm just really dying to get this new batch back, because I don't have a whole lot at the moment. So this is a skein of our Romney wool, and all of our sheep are either white or natural color. And we don't do any dyeing, just because I really feel like the natural colors that we get from our sheep are just really beautiful, and they don't really need to be dyed. Even the white ones, I feel like, are not all the same. Some have really beautiful white wool once it's washed. Some have more of an ivory color or a winter white. Some are creamier. So even them, I just am like, I don't want to dye you. You're just so pretty on its own. So not to say that you don't need a splash of color here and there, but I really just love the natural colors. Plus they go with everything. So this is a skein from our Ram Augustus, and all of our yarn is basically like a fleece lot. A lot of our sheep are not the same color. They're variations of shades, and so I haven't even really had to blend fleeces together because their colors are so different amongst individuals. And so I think it's just what we do is the yarn colorway is named from the sheep that it came from, which I think just really adds a great personal touch. You kind of know who you're knitting with or crocheting with, or who you're wearing. And on our website, I have a little bio about each of the sheep that the yarn came from, just so that you kind of know what their personality is like, what they look like, and I think it just really adds that kind of personal touch. You know where your wool came from. So this is Augustus, our Romney natural colored ram, and he just really produces a lovely kind of brownish gray fleece. Even for our ram, who sometimes they don't always have the best quality of wool because they're rams, his is lovely and super crimpy and curly, and he's a big guy. And I love the lambs that he has helped produce, along with the wool that he has produced. And if you've never tried Romney wool, so this is 100% Romney wool, it is on the softer end of the long wool spectrum. It has great crimp as a fleece, so if you're a hand spinner and you've never tried Romney wool, I can't tell you you need to try it as soon as possible, because it is a hand spinner's dream. But the crimp in the fleece of Romney's really helps it to make it on the softer end of the spectrum, and they just really have great smushy kind of wool. The other great quality about this wool is that it's really durable. I would wear this on a daily basis and not really expect to have any sort of pilling issues going on. or just like the quality of it going down because of overwear, or so this is great. It's a hardy wool. Is it a next to skin wool? I don't know. Maybe not. It's probably not as soft as what you would want to have next to your skin. But this would make a great garment in anything, any accessory: hats, mittens, gloves, scarves, shawls, sweaters, socks. I just really love Romney wool, and if you've never tried it, I think you definitely should. So this is Augustus, and then we also have Lincoln wool, and Lincoln wool, their wool is almost kind of the opposite of Romney wool. Lincolns are a very old breed. They're actually a rare breed, and they are considered a foundation breed in a lot of modern breeds that we have now. And so they are kind of the classic English breed that you think of, that have the long, lustrous pearls. That's a Lincoln. Or you might, think of like a Wensleydale or a Teeswater or something like that. They're all very similar. But the Lincoln has beautiful, long, lustrous ringlets, super shiny, with not as much crimp as the Romney. So they tend to be maybe a little bit on the rougher side of the long wool spectrum. And so I think traditionally Lincoln wool has been mostly made into rug yarn or tapestry yarn. But I really want to see it going in the direction of being used for garments or accessories. I made a great shawl out of Lincoln wool, and I love it. And so the kind of the wool qualities as far as like the yarn is that it is super shiny. You probably can't tell from this video, but even spun up in the yarn, it's still really shiny. And if you see it, it has a drape to it, and not because it's a limp type of fiber like alpaca or angora, but because it's so weighty. It's just a really heavy wool, which makes it great for really heavy duty kind of outerwear, like a vest or a heavy sweater or mittens. I made some mittens that the knitted portion is made out of Lincoln, and then I thrummed it using Romney roving thrums, and I love that mitten. It's never going to wear, because this is just such a durable yarn, and the shininess is just really beautiful. This would, I think, makes great shawls because of the drape. So those are kind of some of our current products. We have some new products coming to us hopefully soon. Last year we bred Gus, our Romney ram, to our 4-white Lincoln ewes because at the time he was our only ram. And so they produced these beautiful crossbreeds, 50% Romney and 50% Lincoln. And in turn, those little crossbred bred lambs that we like to call Romlinks produced really beautiful wool. And they went to a farm in Doylestown, and thankfully the owners didn't want to use the wool or didn't have anything to do with the wool, and they allowed us to take it. And from there we sent it off to a mill, and this is kind of like a prototype, I guess, of what's to come back. But it's like the best characteristics of both breeds converged into this kind of magical unicorn yarn. By that I mean it has the luster and the shine of the Lincoln and the weightiness of the Lincoln, but it still has that squish factor and the softness of the Romney. I can't wait to get this back because, and it's coming in a variety of colors. Each one of those little lambs were a different color, pretty much. This is kind of more of a taupe color, but I think the colors are going to range to almost a dark black, a black or a very, very, very dark charcoal gray, all the way down to a very light silvery gray, and then possibly maybe like a brownish taupe color like this one too. So we're very excited to get that back. This year we also tried something new too. We really wanted to be able to use every inch of wool that we possibly could. And, some wool is not acceptable to be turned into yarn. Like the wool on the legs, or the wool on the front part of the chest, or the wool off the head and the face. Like they get matted and they get felted and they get really dirty, and it's just not the nicer part of the wool to be spun into yarn. But it still has a purpose and be made into things. Some of that wool I have kept to wash up myself to be able to use to needle felt with. And we make these cute little sheath ornaments that are needle felted. We sell these on our website. If you don't really care what the color is, you could just order the example that I have, and you'll be sent a surprise. Or if you want something that's more custom, we can do that for you as well. But we really love these. This is just a great way to use bits and pieces of wool that would have maybe normally been thrown in the trash. The other thing that we use, that kind of the second cuts or the not as nice wool, we had made into rug yarn. And that is this guy right here. It is like a woolly cocoon of happiness. And so we kind of have hemmed and hawed what we should do with this. Should we sell it as a big skein like this? Or should we have it, made into a finished product? And I think we're going towards the finished product route. I think we have a lot of people that really want to support us who don't necessarily knit or crochet or weave or felt or whatever, but really want to be able to buy our wool products. And so we are going to have these woven into rugs that I think are just going to be beautiful. I can imagine this in front of your kitchen sink, or in your hallway, or on the side of your bed, or even in your bathroom. I think to step down on this would just be like heaven for your feet. So, and what's even better is that our shearer is going to be the one, I think, to make these woven rugs for us, which makes it that much more special. Everything that we try to do as locally as possible and support, smaller businesses too. And so, yeah, that's what's going to be coming up soon. So look for these. We also are probably going to have like some placemats and table runners and things like that made as well. So they'll all be uploaded onto the website, or if we have them for fiber shows, we'll definitely bring those with us too. So those are kind of some of the products that we have. We obviously have roving and locks as well that you can purchase, and I think that's kind of it for like the business side of this whole spiel. As far as kind of things that I've been working on, I guess my fiber story kind of starts, I don't know. I think just like everybody, my grandmother taught me how to knit and to crochet when I was little, probably like around 9 or 10. But she lived in Pennsylvania and I grew up in Kansas, so I didn't have her support, I guess, or her help, or her, motivation to keep me going, as far as, honing in on my craft. And so when I was pregnant with my daughter Noelia, we found out kind of halfway through the pregnancy that I needed to be on bed rest. not super strict bed rest, but, really needed to be careful and take it easy. And, you can only watch TV for so long, or you can only read so many books before you kind of start getting a little bored or feel like, your mind is not up to par. So knitting was a great way for me to kind of feel like I was being productive in some way, and was a way for me to not let my mind wander. And so I went to the local yarn store here and picked up a couple of skeins and started knitting. And ever since then, I haven't been able to put the needles down. That's been about almost 4.5, 5 years ago. And then crocheting, I saw this really great cowl online, and thankfully the woman who made the cowl also had a tutorial on YouTube. So I don't know if I'm embarrassed to say, or it's sad to say, or it's really just awesome that I learned to crochet from YouTube. YouTube, I think, can probably teach you just about anything. And so I've been crocheting, I think, for about maybe 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. And I think sometimes I'm a better crocheter, or I'm faster at it. So, and then spinning, I have kind of taken up here and there over the past year or so. I originally learned to spin using alpaca, which was really difficult because there's no lanolin in alpaca, and it's just like spinning pops basically. And spinning is not something that's super easy to catch on right away. And I think for the most part, things come pretty naturally to me, and spinning was not one of them. And so it was a great lesson in patience and perseverance, and something that I definitely want to keep practicing on, because I want to be better at that. I think it's just such a kind of a hopefully not now, but I feel like for a long time kind of a dying art form. And I really want to bring that back, and I really want Noelia at least to know how to do that, or would like to try and do that, and Sammy as well. So I've been really into shawls lately. I just really love a good shawl, and it has just happened to where I've just kind of done a shawl a month almost, and so I need to get on another shawl. I haven't started one for this month yet, but I would love to just have like an arsenal of shawls. I think that they're just the perfect accessory because you can wear them in so many different ways. They're super functional, and I just really love them. So the most recent one that I've done is a shawl called Simple Brilliance from Caitlin French. And when I was at Maryland Sheep and Wool, you're just bombarded with so many different vendors that it's hard to not feel overwhelmed. And then having my own yarn, I kind of feel guilty buying other people's yarn because I have so much right here in my own home. And I think my husband kind of gives me this stink eye too whenever I start looking at yarn, because he's like, why do you need that? We have our own. But sometimes you need a little pop of color here and there. And so it got to be towards the end of the day, and we came to the Tidal Yarns booth, and I was just completely drawn to every single skein that she had for sale. And shockingly, I picked out a Romney yarn in kind of a mauve color and in kind of a mossy sage green color, and then kind of in, I guess, like a burnt orangish kind of color. And so I really wanted a simplistic pattern, or I shouldn't say simplistic, but I wanted a simple look or a more rustic look because I wanted the feature of the colors to be more apparent than the intrinsicness of the pattern. And so this is a shawl that I did out of the tile yarn. I don't know how well you can see it. But I will probably wear this. I think this is just such a great shawl that it can be worn in almost any season other than summer because it's hotter than Hades here right now. And so that's my simple brilliant shawl. A couple other shawls that I've done. I did one. I really love Cabin 4. If you don't know her, she is on Ravelry and Instagram. And I really love her shawls because I feel like she has kind of more of a rustic look. And I think her patterns really lend themselves well to our yarn. And so I did the pure shawl out of our Lincoln Long Wool Liesel. And I have to say, one of the things with knitting with Lincoln is that it has just really beautiful stitch definition. It has a slight halo to it as well. And this is kind of just a mother of a shawl. In that it's not super huge, but it is super weighty. Like this is a heavy thing. I would say maybe it weighs about a pound or so because just this wool is so heavy. And so I just thought that this was the perfect pattern. She has 3 different sections in this shawl with 3 different stitches, so it gives that kind of subtle texture. And I think I will be snuggled up in this all winter long, reading the days away. And then another recent one that I have done is the bad net shawl that I made for my husband. And when he said, "Hey, a shawl," he was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But I think, this is a great pattern too in that it's so versatile in how you can wear it. Once he got past the word shawl and saw that it could be more of a scarf or a cowl, then he was totally down with it. And I did it in our Romney lamb's wool. I did it in, I think this is Anna. And it's just a really great, lovely, rich chocolate brown, which I think gives it even more of a masculine touch for my husband. And so this is the bad net shawl. And I love the little eyelets that kind of go vertically throughout it. And I will probably be stealing this too, but this just has like a really smushy feeling too, and it's super soft. The last shawl that I wanted to show you that I have made is another Cabin 4 design called Wapiti, and Wapiti means elf in a Native American language, and I really loved this pattern, one, because of its rusticness, and 2, a lot of my family lives in Elk County, Pennsylvania, which is about 4.5 hours north central of here, and I just have really fond memories of growing up there, not growing up there, but being able to spend time there as a kid. Now my kids are able to do that. And I knitted this shawl in our Ramhidu Fia. And Fia just has a really lovely kind of taupe color. And I thought it just looked really close or really similar to the color of an elk. And so the whole idea just was like meant to be, basically. I wish I would have made it, I think, a little bit bigger, because it's not that it's small, but I feel like I have kind of bigger shoulders and need a bigger shawl. But this makes, if you wear it more like as a scarf or a kerchief style, I think it totally works. And it's somewhat lightweight, so this is a great, I think, beginning kind of fall or beginning kind of spring accessory. So that's kind of what I've been working on. I just really love shawls, and I'm really waiting for my friend Irina from Flying Fibers to release her new shawl pattern, because she told me that it has a very rustic feel to it, so she needs to do that soon. So, and then the next thing that I'm going to be casting on, which I need to do like this weekend, is I need to start my first sweater, which is kind of embarrassing to say that I've never done a sweater. I think it's just one of those things that have just been like a little scary, but I just need to bite the bullet and do it because I really want to have it ready for Rhinebeck. And so I'm going to just have to knit until my fingers bleed, basically, to get this done and hope that there are no issues. The sweater pattern that I'm 99% sure that I'm wanting to do is the Climb Every Mountain pattern by Heidi Kermeyer. And so I really love this. I just love the eyelets that go down the front of it. So fingers crossed, send your good juju that I get this done and there are no like hiccups along the way. I'm sure there will be. But mostly that I just can get it done in time for Rhinebeck. So, yarn that I have in my stash is not much. And not because I don't want it to be, but because, I don't know. I really like buying from fiber festivals versus going to the yarn store. And not that I don't want to support like the local yarn store, but there's just something about going to a fiber festival and purchasing like that special yarn that you may not find so readily. Or, talking to the shepherd that grew the wool that has now turned it into the yarn and just getting that backstory. Or like, speaking with the woman who owns Tidal Yarns and, talking about her different dye pots and what she uses and how she came up with this color. And, I think having that conversation with the person who has their hand first on the yarn. So that being said, I think the first one I'll show you is this one. When we did Vogue Knitting last year, we met a lot of great vendors who gave us really wonderful advice and, pats on the back and high fives and, gave us their support. And one of those people was Wendy Tyler, who I met, who was a vendor there. She owns Blackwood Ranch in Montana, and it's an alpaca farm. And normally I'm not super drawn to alpaca, but I just really got suckered into Wendy's stuff. She dyes her yarn as well, and she has beautiful, beautiful jewel tones for her color palette. And I'm a super sucker for purple. Noelia and I love purple. I think it might be because I went to K-State. But I really love purple. And this color right here, I don't know how well it's showing up, but it's kind of a great amethyst eggplant kind of color. And it is in a sport weight, 300 yards, 100% alpaca. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. I have another skein of it. I don't know, something super special for this. Another one that I bought was, we also did the Pittsburgh Knit and Crochet Festival. And, you kind of don't know who you're going to be next to when it comes to who's your neighboring booth when you're a vendor. Most of the time it's not a big deal. Sometimes you totally luck out and get next to people who are just fantastic. And that happened in Pittsburgh. I was next to the New River Fiber Company, two ladies, Nell and Whitney, who have their store in Virginia. And it was just such a pleasure to be next to them. I just really connected with them, and so of course I had to buy yarn from them. And so I bought this Kismet Fiberworks yarn in the Twiggy colorway. It's 50% merino and 50% silk. And it's this beautiful, what attracted me most to it was this color. It's this beautiful coppery, bronzy color. It's very fancy. So I don't know what I'm doing with this yet either. So I'm still looking for the perfect pattern for this. I think maybe what I will do is Nell also is a designer. If you know her, she's Nell Knits on Instagram and on Ravelry. I think I might use one of her patterns in this yarn. And then another yarn that I recently just bought from a yarn store close to here in Swarthmore is from Plymouth Yarn Company, who is also a company in Pennsylvania. And I think what I loved so much about this yarn is, one, that was 100% wool, and two, I really loved the color. It's this great kind of autumnal green. I love the Donald gold that goes throughout it. And I think when I bought it, I thought, oh, if I buy this, that means the weather will change. And it didn't. So, but I think this will make a really great pair of like mittens, or maybe a hat for a great cow. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with this, but I just really loved the color. And that's pretty much what I have in my stash right now. I know it's like super small and you're probably like, whee, it's not a stash at all. But I will have to say, a lot of the things that I knit with my own yarn, because I just love it so much. And it being such a lot of neutral colors, you go with everything. So some of the other things that I really like doing too are sewing. I just made my daughter a little bear, and it was like not the best bear, but it was my first kind of stuffed animal. I have made a couple of quilts, and I'm working on some quilts that need to be finished up. The next thing I kind of want to make is maybe a shirt or a dress or something like that. I found this fabric right here that I really love. It's just a really great kind of dusty country blue color with that kind of burnt red. I just love that color combination. So something will be made out of this. And yeah, I think the only other thing that I think that I can tell you is that one of the questions that Emily had sent me was, what's your ideal fiber festival? Or I'm sorry, your ideal fiber vacation. And my husband and I have been talking about going to Scotland because, one, it would probably be a place we would never maybe go back to. And two, just I love the history, and the fiber industry over there is just phenomenal. And so it happens that we will be going during Shetland Wool Week, which is just, I think, going to be amazing and awesome. And I don't know how I'm going to be able to contain myself around people like Donna Smith and Kate Davies. And so I'm really looking forward to going to that, and I will definitely post pictures and kind of keep you updated on our vacation over there. And then other than that, I think that pretty much kind of wraps up who we are and what we do. I do want to show you our flock, so if you hang tight, I'll take you outside and you can meet some of our sheep. So see you outside.
Hey again. So we are up in the pasture where we have all of our ewes, 2 of our wethers, Sweater Guy and Eli, and a couple of our lambs. And then in another pasture we have all of our big rams and some of our ram lambs that are a little bit older than a couple of the ones that we have here. So this is Hazel. She is one of our original members, our starting flock members, and I just Hazel's just I love her. She is definitely one of my favorites. Just has a great personality. She's very friendly. Loves to get a scratch. Loves a snack. She is definitely not shy. And yeah, I just really love her. She produces beautiful wool. This year she had 2 little ram lamb twins, and then last year she had a little ewe lamb who was a giant ewe lamb, and we just really love her. Here's some of her wool. I can open this up. She has really thick wool, and here you can kind of see down in here just how dark she is. So she usually produces a really pretty kind of light charcoal gray yarn for us, and it's just really pretty. Here's some of that awesome, oops, there she goes, Romney crimp. And it looks like, you know, they've kind of all started wandering out. We have another pasture where they can go and graze from, and it's finally kind of started cooling off this evening. So some of them have gone ahead and headed out there, but we'll see if we can find some more for you to see. Here's one of our Lincolns. Oh, nope. Here's Sweater Guy. Sweater Guy is one of our Romney Weathers, and he's just such a sweetheart. He has quickly become one of our favorites here, just because he just has a great personality. He's super friendly. Almost borders on doesn't know personal space. I will usually find some heavy hot breathing on the back of my hand when I'm up here doing things, and it's usually Sweater Guy, and he just wants to be loved, basically. He's such a good little sheep, and he just turned 2, so we will have him for a long time, I think. He also came from Grandview Farm, and so we love him. And he produced just a gorgeous fleece this year. If I can come around, stay there, Sweater Guy, I can kind of show you some of his beautiful wool. And he won't mind, he loves the scratch. So Romneys have this really great kind of puffy wool. Some of them are really curly, like you can kind of see here that he's got some little curls starting to develop from being shorn in May. But he's got really beautiful crimp as well. Let me see if I can open this up and get a good picture for you so that you can see. So yeah, here's Sweater Guy and his crimp. And like I said, we sheared in mid-May, and he probably already has, if I really stretch this out, maybe about 2.5, maybe 3 inches of wool on him already, which is just great. Long wool sheep will really grow wool pretty quickly. So if they have a great diet and are well cared for, most can really grow about an inch, half an inch or so a month. And we have really great pastures here. It's been a little dry lately. It hasn't rained in maybe a week and a half or so, but for the most part, we have pretty great pastures. So we try to do things pretty naturally here. We don't like to feed a lot of grain. The only times that we do really feed grain are right before we're getting ready to breed. So maybe about a month or 2 before breeding season starts. And then we feed moms a little bit of grain right before they're going to lamb, just to make sure that they have that extra energy to get through that last part of their pregnancy, and then maybe shortly after they've lambed to make sure that their milk comes in. And then for the rest of the time, they're grass-fed. We do feed alfalfa pellets, which we have found is a great protein boost. Plus, we did a little research and have found that it really helps in wool production and wool quality. So, and they love it. It's like a treat for them. So here are two of our yearling ewes. They were born on our farm last year. And the one on the left, the gray one, is Abigail, and that is Hazel's daughter from last year. And the one on the right is Addie, and she is Fia's daughter from last year. And they have just really grown into beautiful ewes, and we'll be breeding them this year, so we're excited to see what lambs they will give us. And I think they'll just be really great moms. So it'll be exciting to see what little lambs come from them, because I think they're just really great, beautiful sheep. And Abigail looks almost exactly like Hazel. And then Addie is a little bit lighter than Fia, but they look very similar as well. So trying to see if we can find any Lincolns for you. Here is Holly. Holly is also one of our original flock members. And we also have her ewe lamb from last year as well, and that is Anna. And I think Anna's probably out in a different pasture grazing. And then this other one right up here next to the trees is Fia. So Fia was the third of the trio that we brought home originally from Vermont. So yeah, we love the look of them. We are kind of more into the Old English version of the Romney, more so than the American version. We kind of just really like the compactness of them and the look. And here we have Big Eli on the left, and it looks like Lola, one of our Lincoln ewes, is with him. Eli is a wether, so he is a castrated male, and Eli easily produces a 20-pound fleece, if not bigger. Right, big guy? And he's just the gentle giant of our flock. He's so calm and has just like the really good disposition, which I would have to say about most of our sheep. They're all pretty great in that they just are really, really chill kind of sheep. So, and this is Lola, one of our Lincoln long wools. And you can see how her wool is different if she doesn't walk off too far. In that she's got these really pretty tight little ringlets, whereas the Romneys, like Eli here, you can kind of see the crimp from him, and he's just kind of like a big puff. Right, big guy? So yeah, if Lola will let me come up to her. And these are our two guard dogs. Willow, who is the puppy right in front of me, and then Meadow, who's down over by the tree. They're two Great Pyrenees, and they basically guard our sheep and make sure that they're okay. We don't have a super threatening predator population here, but we do have fox in the area, and during lambing season especially, that can get to be a little scary. So because I don't think foxes would have any problem trying to snatch a lamb. So having Meadow and Willow here to kind of patrol the area and make sure that lambs are okay kind of just gives us peace of mind. So this is Lola, and it's still warm out for them, right? And you can see that she just has really beautiful, tight little curls that are shiny and lovely. And there she goes. We have a little purple patch on her. She has kind of an area where she's had a little bit of, when we purchased her, she had this area on her backside that had kind of, I think, like a fungal infection, and slowly and surely we've been able to get it to decrease little by little. So that purple mark just kind of helps dry it out and keep flies away, and make sure that it doesn't spread anymore. But Lola had 2 beautiful ewe lambs last year that went to a farm not too far from here, and then this year she just had a giant single ram lamb, and he's over with the big boys. So and then if you can look in here, I think this is where most of them are. This is kind of a compost area that we have, and so the sheep really like coming through here because there's great pasture area, and then there's a lot of weeds that they like to take down. So yeah, and this is a great time for them right now. Now that the sun has gone down, it's not so hot, and there's still a good breeze. So here's a lot of them right here. So it's a great time. We'll leave this pasture open for them so that they can graze during the night too, and get some good feeding time in. And then they'll come back in usually by morning time, to get some water and to kind of relax before the day gets too hot again. So right here is one of our CVMs. I'll zoom in for you, the one with the long tail. We kind of took her, I shouldn't say take her, but one of the mills that we're using had 3 CVMs that they just didn't have time to take care of, and so we took them off their hands for them. And they're really just a unique sheep. Their wool feels like unlike the Lincolns or the Romneys. It's very spongy feeling, and them being such a fine wool sheep that doesn't grow as fast. So rosemary and lavender don't have a whole lot of growth back from when they were sheared, but they will be sheared again in the spring. And that's pretty much it for our flock. I hope that you have enjoyed this podcast. And if you have any questions, like I said before, please feel free to contact me. And I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much. Bye.